It is week 7 here on the Say What You Like Sports podcast. So it is our turn to not only recap week 6, but we also got to give our predictions for week 7. So let's go ahead and kick it off with reviewing what went down in week 6.
That's right, and we'll start off with the Sunday games at 1 p.m. Eastern. And the game we're going to talk about is the first one went into overtime, which was the Tennessee Titans coming back with like a fourth quarter miracle and then beating the Houston Texans in overtime with the score 42-36.
I thought this game was going to be a close game, well-fought game now that Bill O'Brien's gone. But Tennessee looks like, this is a team that usually rounds itself out into form around that December-ish time right before the playoffs start. But it looks like they're clicking on all cylinders early in the year. So this is a dangerous team.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they've got Derrick Henry running. I mean, he pretty much ended that game for them.
Yeah.
You have Tannehill throwing a game-tying touchdown. That was clutch.
Yeah.
Their defense is a bend-but-don't-break opportunistic defense. And, this team is kind of moving into that upper tier, with the Steelers. They have a big test with them. With the Bills, they're not just an AFC South one-and-done team. So, this kind of proved that it's their division. Following that game, we have the Indianapolis Colts coming back and stopping Joe Burrow's trying a game-winning drive. They win the game 31-27.
Yeah, and like I said when I was picking this game, I think the Colts are going to go as Phillip Rivers goes. And it started out a little rough for him in this game, but then, he started throwing the touchdowns there, putting points on the board. And as soon as that momentum was grabbed, this team's good enough on both sides of the ball to beat a team like the Bengals, man.
Yeah, the Bengals still don't know how to win.
Yeah.
I think they're like 1-11-1 on close scoring games.
Right.
It speaks to a lot of rookies, both head coach and quarterback. Joe Burrow had a chance to win through a kind of was a game-ending pick. But, for Cincinnati, it's just about, Burrow's mature and growing and kind of building a connection with, I think, T. Higgins, who had a pretty good breakout game. The fall for the Minnesota Vikings continues as they fall to the Atlanta Falcons 40-23. This is the most shocking one, in my opinion.
Yeah, for me, I mean, finally I don't pick the Atlanta Falcons and then they go out and win one. So that should tell you something about me and my picks in 2020.
It's personal. They know.
They know. Yeah, it's like they did that to me on purpose. But yeah, I mean, I think Kirk Cousins is almost to the point where they're talking about him being benched possibly.
Oh, my God, yeah. There's so many pictures of, like, Adam Thielen just looking at him. Just like, what are you doing, dude? Yeah, Cousins, I've said this to you even back when he was with Washington. I never got it. I always thought he was overrated. And it's just like, I understand maybe your defense, but how do you throw so many boneheaded picks with all the weapons they have on offense? Atlanta showing out now that Dan Quinn is gone. So, you get a little bump. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Falcons do, if they just try to trade everyone. And Minnesota, man, who knows? You might see a completely different team come next year.
I do. I think so.
Moving forward with young teams, the New York Giants beat the Washington Redskins.
The Washington football team. It's a politically correct podcast.
Sorry about that. The Washington football team, 20-19. I got to get in the flow of this. And this game ended with I think Washington driving down, scoring a game-winning touchdown, and then Ron Rivera said, "What? No, we'll have none of this.
No, we're going for 2.
You're going for 2.
I think that was just to save the fans from having to watch that game any fucking longer.
Yeah,
because it was a pretty sloppy game.
Oh yeah,
I was watching that game primarily early on, and I'll say this: I'll give him credit for being Riverboat Ron, but I don't know. At that point, I think that the Washington Redskins, Washington football team, probably would have won the game if they didn't go for 2 in overtime. Yeah. Just the momentum seemed to be on their side, but you know what? I don't blame them. It was a sloppy game. It is the NFC East of 2020.
Yes. Speaking of the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles lose to the Baltimore Ravens. They had a pretty good comeback, but they fall short of their comeback, 30-28, when they failed a 2-point conversion to tie the game.
You know what's sad? For as bad as Andy Dalton looked in that game against Arizona, he still might be the best quarterback in the NFC East right now.
Yeah, it comes in waves.
It's close.
Carson Wentz, I mean, he's funny because people viewed him last year as wasn't part of the problem, he's part of the solution. And now he's kind of both. He's part of the problem again now. And, a lot of analysts will talk about that 2-point conversion. You need to check out of that run option. I mean, they tackled both of them at the same time. Was not a good play. Who knows what's in his head, but again, in that NFC East, they're not out of it yet. Team that came hurtling back down to earth is the Cleveland Browns, who were just humbled by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big brother dunking on little brother. They lost 38-7 with Baker Mayfield being pulled in that game.
Complete domination. And I don't know, has any word came out yet as to why he was pulled? Is it the rib injury? Is that the legitimate excuse, or was he straight out benched? I mean,
sometimes they don't have it. You know, I as a Niners fan, I can speak to it a week ago with Miami of just they come out and maybe they're not healthy and it just affects them mentally, physically. That's what the coach is going to say. It's a physical issue because he's not going to put that on Baker's head.
Right.
But you're really starting to wonder if Baker Mayfield's the future because the talent around that team is pretty good, especially on the offense. But I think that they just realized it was kind of a team that climbed to a mountain and thought that was the tip and realized, oh no, there's way big.
Pittsburgh Steelers in this division.
The Baltimore Ravens. Like, you're able to beat teams that are okay or struggling, but that doesn't mean you're able to compete with the best.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll say this about what I noticed this weekend. Ben Roethlisberger has kind of reverted back to, like, year 1, year 2 Ben Roethlisberger, where he's not – the Pittsburgh Steelers offense isn't relying on his arm.
No.
You know, they really do put it in the hands of the defense and the running game, and he just makes the plays when he's called upon.
Yeah.
And it's really funny to see how he's kind of gone through that, like, circle of life as a quarterback.
Yeah, because, I mean, they have a defense now.
Yeah.
And I think really quick, just to end it on Pittsburgh, is they feel like the challengers to Kansas City because they're the one team we haven't seen go up against Kansas City. We've seen what Buffalo.
That's true.
We've seen Buffalo against Kansas City. We've seen Baltimore. We saw Tennessee last year. But it's like Pittsburgh is like that unknown opponent. Yeah. We don't know. But they have, in theory, the tools to hang with the Kansas City Chiefs. So whenever that comes down, I think in the playoffs, that's going to be a fun one to watch.
That's going to be a good game.
That's a heavyweight fight right there. Chicago scoring another win. Actually, I believe taking the control of the NFC
first place
North by defeating the Carolina Panthers 23-16.
Yeah, you know, Carolina's a gritty team, man.
Yeah.
A real gritty team. They have completely surpassed my expectations for them so far. I think Teddy Bridgewater is proving to be a pretty solid deal with his signing there. But these Chicago Bears, man, I mean, I think they're another surprise because with all the switch at quarterback, with they benched Trubisky after they were 3-0.
Yeah.
You know, that's just...
It tells you all you need to know about Trubisky.
That just sounds strange. Yeah, it's just a strange year, but the bottom line is I think week in and week out this defense comes to play.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at Chicago, it's going to be interesting to see how they match up with Green Bay. That's going to be the big one. But I think this speaks about, even though they lost, this speaks to Carolina. I mean, this tells you what a good coaching staff. They're under, they don't have the talent to compete, but that team believes. And he's put the structure right there.
Doing it without McCaffrey?
Yeah, that's amazing. So, I think that they have a pretty good future, especially in that division with older quarterbacks. I mean, we don't know who they'll be, what quarterback they'll have in 2021, but we could say the same for Tampa Bay in the near future, the Saints, and Atlanta. Another team, the Detroit Lions, the NFC North, they just stomp out Minshew Mania. I think they officially end Minshew. It's a buried alive match.
Yeah.
They've buried them. There's no comeback for Jacksonville. I think they'll be looking for a new quarterback, and they win 34-16 over the Jags.
Yeah, Matt Patricia really needed this win. I think the heat was on him. I mean, he's another Belichick disciple that I think really needs to prove himself that he can stand on his own 2 feet. He's had plenty of time in Detroit. Let's face it, under his watch, Detroit hasn't improved very much at all, if any.
No.
And so, you know what, you just don't get that much time as a head coach, and I think he needs to make a late season run here to keep his job.
Yeah, I mean, they might have to make playoffs or bust, especially with the 7th seed and everything.
Yeah.
If Minnesota wasn't just free falling, they would be the story.
Right.
As far as I'm coming through, I would assume maybe the shocker or the upset is the Denver Broncos going into New England and walking out with an 18-12 win.
I did blow this pick. I did pick the
Everybody
New England
did.
Patriots. But I will admit, I didn't know that Drew Lock was going to play.
Yeah.
When I made my pick, I didn't know Drew Lock was going to play, or else I would have gave them a shot in the dark to win. I thought there was no chance for them to win
without Drew Lock.
Rypien, I seen him play, a couple weeks ago, and no, that's all she wrote. But yeah, Drew Lock, man, he is not afraid to throw that ball down the field. Keep defenses, honest with the deep ball, and I think that alone tells you something. Sometimes a 45-yard incompletion down the field is not a bad thing. And I don't think anybody really underlines that like Drew Lock.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were able to, and I think what was shocked me was they were able to kind of really just corral and control, Cam Newton. They sacked him.
Yeah.
They pressured him. What was interesting? Okay, so when I look at Drew Lock and I watch this game, he's the type of quarterback that'll keep both teams in it.
Yeah.
Because. I mean, there was a play. I'll never forget this. It was he took a sack and then it was a stuff, and they were on their own 20-yard line, and then he throws like a 30-yard pass down the sideline on a dime. I mean, there are a few quarterbacks that can do it dapper. He has the talent to do that, but for some reason, when they had the lead and were slowing down New England, they let him still throw, and I'm like, no, maybe you shouldn't do that. And he threw 2 picks to bring to give New England a shot. So while there is a lot of talent with them. You can tell that they're still a maturing team. But for New England, man, I don't know. You got the Niners coming into town, and I think they're reign, and I think this may be a pause on that Belichick dynasty. Speaking of the AFC East, the team with the least amount of hope faced the team with the most amount of hope. And this is the 105 game. This is the New York Jets getting shut out by the Miami Dolphins 24-0.
Yeah, it's game over, right, for Gase. I mean, the fact that he still has a job just proves that they're tanking to get Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think any self-respecting person that wants to try to win would not have Gase as their head coach.
No.
So they're totally playing for 2021 already.
Yeah.
And you know what? The Miami Dolphins, they are quietly a pretty decent team.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I mean, you saw what they were able to do. And I had a feeling like this was going to happen because, and we talked about our predictions at the beginning of the year, I had Miami finishing 3rd and the Jets finishing 4th because I knew that if it went south, it wasn't going to go kind of south for the Jets. It was going to go way south. This wasn't going to be, they maybe go 6 and... No, they were not going to be a very good team. As far as the Dolphins, I felt like they believe in their coaching. Their quarterbacks believe in each other. You know, I have this feeling that Ryan Fitzpatrick, while disappointed he's not starting, will do everything in his power to get Tua Tagovailoa ready for his start.
He's been there before.
Yeah, so I mean he knows, and I like what the Dolphins are doing. I think they have a bright future. Who knows what's going to happen with New England? Who knows what's going to happen with the Jets? But right now, the Dolphins are the team that are pointing up with I love their talent.
Yeah, I agree.
The only actually one primetime 125 game. Saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers welcome the Green Bay Packers and stomp the living hell out of them. 38-10. Midway through the second quarter, this game was over.
Yeah. You know what, man? This is 2020, man. It's. What can I say about this game, man?
The fact that, do you want to tell you the truth? I'll tell you right now what I think of Green Bay. This tells me a lot about Green Bay. Still the same team they were a year ago. Yeah. Whenever you punch them in the mouth, this reminded me of when the Niners faced them on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
When everyone didn't know about the Niners and the Packers only lost 2 games and the Niners spanked them, punched them in the mouth, told them you are not a physical team. And they still are not a physical team.
Yeah, they are a finesse team.
They are.
And
you can stomp them out. I'm sorry. Yes, Green Bay is good.
I just didn't expect it from Tampa Bay.
Their defense is good, man. And I think that what happened was it came quick. Because you go up 10-0, and then you throw a pick, and then you throw another pick. I mean, one of them's a pick 6.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and they never got on track. I think that Tampa Bay defense, it doesn't have the names of the flash that the Niners did of a year ago with Bosa and Armstead and Buckner, but their defense is aggressive. Their defense is good. Tom Brady, if you give him a lead, he knows how to protect it. They're able to run the ball. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of those teams that are just built to beat the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. And, as far as the Packers, you're going to be a good team. I'm not saying they're not. I still think they'll win their division. But the thought that they are head and shoulders better than every team in the NFC just got brought back down to reality.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And then we have the Sunday night game, one of my favorite upsets. San Francisco 49ers rebound off a two-game losing streak to beat the Los Angeles Rams 24-16.
Yeah, this one kind of took me by a little bit of a surprise, just because of how San Francisco had struggled the previous couple of weeks, especially with quarterback issues. Yeah, you knew Jimmy was probably working himself back into shape, but the Rams at least on offense, have been playing pretty well up to that point. So I was taken aback, but I mean, you're the 49ers guy, man. Tell me, how did they pull off the upset?
I think part of it is getting their secondary healthy. When you got guys that's right off the practice squad starting, I mean, I don't care what type of quarterback and coach you are, you're going to take advantage of that. You know, we'll speak more about my thoughts on that one, preparing for this one in the red and blue rivalry. But at the end of the day, I think Jimmy being a little more healthy, I think him being able to plant, I think Deebo Samuel actually, truth be told, being a little more healthy, the secondary being more healthy, and I think that they just McVay. I mean, how do I say it? Shanahan kind of knows McVay.
Yeah,
You know, he kind of knows, and ever since Jimmy Garoppolo has started for Kyle Shanahan, he has never lost to the Rams. He has beaten them 3-0.
yeah,
Last 2 years and this year, even when they've been down and injured, beats them.
yeah.
You know, so there's something to be said about that. At the end of the day, I think the Rams are still a good team, but I think reality just set in on the Rams.
Yeah.
2 Monday night games. First, we have the 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 Pacific, where Kansas City reestablished dominance by kind of just handing it to the Buffalo Bills, 17-26.
Yeah, it was a slow death because they ran the ball primarily on offense in that game. And Patrick Mahomes really, just had to throw the ball here and there on third down. And it was, like I said, a slow death. Brick by brick, they built a wall. But the one takeaway that I get from this game is that the Bills' defense is nowhere near on the level of what it was last season. This is a team now that's, banking on the arm of Josh Allen and not playing defense, running the ball. It's a completely different identity for the Bills in 2020.
Yeah, man, I got to see a little bit of this game here and there. It's scary to think that Kansas City can run the ball with efficiency now. I mean, that's just a terrifying thought. And Buffalo just kind of showed that, like you said, there are levels to the levels. And while Buffalo is a good team, and I think they'll win the division, there's a level above them that they're not there at. And they're not with the Kansas Cities and the Pittsburghs at this point yet. You know? They're just not.
I would agree.
And the final game, Arizona Cardinals walk into Dallas and hang 38 points, beating the Dallas Cowboys 38-10.
And speaking of different levels, there's levels even lower than that. And that would be every single team that plays in the NFC East, including the Dallas Cowboys, who are first in the division as we speak.
At 2-4?
2-4.
Wow.
We lead that division.
Take it where you can get it, my man.
Yeah. So, for me, the takeaway on that one, this game, is I think it was just bad Cowboys.
Yeah.
It was bad Cowboys. Arizona didn't really impress me outside of Budda Baker, who was
He's
all
a beast.
over the field, man.
Yeah.
I mean, wherever the ball was, this dude was.
Is he the best safety in football right now?
Probably.
Like him and Meek are like
Probably.
1 and 2.
He's probably the best safety in football today. Yeah. He had the interception.
That break on that ball was, I don't even blame Dalton because I was like, where did he just dove. I was like, where did he come from?
I mean, he was all around it.
Yeah.
He sacked Dalton.
Yeah, I saw that one he just took it flush.
I mean, he was doing it on every level of the field. That's the takeaway. And then other than that, it's bad Cowboys, man, which I'll get into a little later.
When I looked at this game, I felt like the defense for the Cowboys came into play early in that series. And I think that if Dallas could have ran the ball and held onto the ball and established even a 10-point lead, I think that would have helped. But I think that the Dallas defense kind of just saw what was going on and they finally broke.
Yeah.
They put up a good. I mean, they were getting to him. They were tackling. They looked good. They were stopping them. They didn't let them. Some of it was bad Cardinals, and I think the Cardinals are kind of an overrated team.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't with a quarterback like Kyler Murray and the offense, they have the weapons. Sooner or later, they're going to hit something. Yeah. And Dallas' inability to match. And I think that, and I didn't realize how bad that offensive line for Dallas was. I mean, it was kind of stark. And I mean, I did feel bad, which is a shock. I realized, like, damn, that sucks. It really does. But it was, a great slate of games. And, we'll truck on for the predictions.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and head into Week 7 for the predictions. Let's take a look at what's on the slate here. Let's turn to the current week. So we have Thursday Night Football. We have the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are favored by 3.5 points here. So for me, man, look, the Giants looked pretty good. Philadelphia looked bad, then they look good, and then they look bad again. That's just the story of the Philadelphia Eagles right now. All in all, I did start to feel like the Eagles are beginning to play better ball, but then I can talk myself in and out of this game over and over. In the end, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles just because.
You know what? Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles too. But I don't even know who's going to play for them. I think maybe this is more just recency bias. But the Giants, I just don't know. I do trust. I'll tell you one thing. The one thing in the whole NFC East that I do respect is that defensive line from the Eagles, because they gave us fit. So I think they can do the same to the Giants, and that's why I got the Eagles as well.
Then let's go to the Sunday games. We have Detroit at Atlanta. Atlanta is favored by 3 points. I promised myself I would never pick Atlanta again, so I'm going to stick to my word. Give me Matt Stafford. Give me Detroit, even though Atlanta, maybe Raheem Morris will have this team in the playoffs. 2020 hasn't failed to shock me yet. So
yeah, I kind of gone back and forth. I'm going to take Detroit because I believe in Matt Stafford. I really do. And I think that it was kind of like their last big punch Atlanta had, was to hang. But I think Detroit is at this point, the records and just the way the football's rolling, Detroit just looks like a better team than Minnesota. So I think they'll perform better. And I think give me Stafford and give me Detroit with the win.
Then you have the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cleveland is favored by 3.5 points. And, Cincinnati's at home. I really do like Joe Burrow as a young quarterback. I mean, I think the confidence is there. I think the talent is there. The fight and determination, more importantly than everything, is there. But even though Cleveland's struggling, I just think Cleveland's a better team from top to bottom. So I'm going to go with Cleveland here.
Yeah, me too. I think that I would be shocked if Baker Mayfield throws more than 18 times. Right. I think they're just going to run this ball.
I agree.
And play keep away and put pressure on Burrow. So I got Cleveland winning this one as well.
Then you have Carolina at New Orleans. New Orleans is favored by 7.5 points. I don't know, man. This might be my upset of the week. I think I'm going to have to go Carolina. New Orleans just has not impressed me, and they have a tendency to play down to their competition. And I don't know, but it's just like Drew Brees is old. And it's not like he's old all 4 quarters. It's just he's not as consistently Drew Brees as he used to be.
There's some infighting too.
Old, inconsistent Drew Brees now.
You have some infighting with Michael Thomas. I don't know. There's more to that. There's more to that story than we know about. Still, that being said, I think there's enough talent, and I think that them having to see, Tampa Bay kind of come away with that big win in against Green Bay kind of has to keep them motivated. I think they all know that this is the last big hurrah for them. So I'm going to take New Orleans to kind of win a close one. I wouldn't be shocked if Carolina covers because they're a feisty young team, but give me the more experienced team.
And then we have the Buffalo Bills, who are 12-point favorites over the New York Jets.
Too low.
Yeah, I'm about to say, man, I'll spot you another field goal at least on that one. I'm taking Buffalo all the way. There's no way in hell I'd pick the New York Jets over a recreational team right now.
No, I mean,
I'm not.
No. I mean, and Buffalo's going to be mad the way they lost.
Yeah, right.
They're going to take it out on the poor Jets. Flacco can barely move. Yeah. Give me Buffalo. I expect that to be over by halftime, and then we can get the halftime show of Gase versus Greg Williams just throwing hands.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. Then we have the next game here. We have NFC East game. We have the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington football team. Dallas is favored by 3 points. And I have a hard time picking Dallas. And then I have an equally hard time picking Washington. Washington's a mess right now with their quarterback situation. I mean, it was Dwayne Haskins. Then he was benched and he's inactive. Then it's Kyle Allen. Then Alex Smith made a return for a while. Then it's just, I don't know. It's just there's something wrong in Washington. But the one thing that concerns me is that Washington has a pretty damn good defensive line. And the way this Cowboys offensive line is looking and the way Andy Dalton was looking behind that line scares me. All in all, still, I just got to go with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dallas will win this game. I mean, it'll be ugly, but I think Dallas will, because here's the thing. I think what we talked about for the previous game with the Cardinals and the Cowboys, how if they would have just been able to hold onto the ball, because their defense was, I think their defense will come out again and stop the Washington offense. I think unlike this time, I think Dallas learned I think this was like a wake up call for them. They weren't sure. They weren't. Andy Dalton wasn't sure.
Yeah.
This to me, they're getting talked about in the press. They weren't ready. So this is a wake up call for everybody. I think Dallas wins this game. I think they just take the air out of the ball. I don't think Zeke's gonna fumble twice.
Yeah.
I think certain those things aren't gonna happen. I think they're gonna use a lot more play action. I wouldn't be surprised. I understand their play action kind of get him away. Andy Dalton to roll out. You don't have to be the most athletic, but at least create some space. Get a couple, and I could see them winning like 17-10 because I do think their defense will shut down Washington's.
Yeah, it's not hard. Washington's not an explosive offense by any means. That takes us to the next game. We have the Green Bay Packers at the Houston Texans. Green Bay is favored by 3.5 points. Right now, man, Houston they're a good team, but there's just something missing in Houston. Kind of like the Cowboys, where they play well in stretches, but they're just too inconsistent to consistently beat good teams. Green Bay, at the very least, is a good team, so I got to go Green Bay to bounce back.
Yeah, I think Green Bay bounces back. I think it's a get-right game. I don't trust Houston's defense. And like I said, as much as I crush Green Bay for being finesse, I still think they can just throw points like nobody's business. And I think they beat Houston by at least 7.
Yeah. Then we have Pittsburgh at Tennessee. Pittsburgh is favored by 1.5. And this is going to be
This is the game.
Damn good game. Because you have a defense in Pittsburgh that's, I think, talented across the board. And then you have really this upstart Tennessee team where Tannehill's playing like a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. And Derrick Henry is making memes out of people. So it really comes down to, can Pittsburgh stop the run, which they seem very capable of doing. But then again, this is Derrick Henry. I'm going to go with Tennessee in this one only because Tennessee's technically the home team for what that's worth nowadays. But I think when you have such a close matchup like this, I go with the team that has the running game and then that's at home.
Yeah, I can see why you would pick that. They're both suffering injuries. You look at the Steelers who lost Devin Bush for the season.
Yeah, they did.
I think Tennessee lost Taylor Lewan for the season.
They did. That's concerning.
So both teams are kind of, and it's kind of what you're thinking about is like, okay, Tennessee wants to stop the run, and now Pittsburgh doesn't have their middle linebacker. Pittsburgh likes to get after the passer, and Tennessee doesn't have their left tackle.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting how that plays out. I just think that Pittsburgh this is going to tell me where Pittsburgh is. After this game, I'll know. Is Pittsburgh belong with Kansas? Because right now Kansas City's in their league of their own.
Yeah, I think so.
And if Pittsburgh can win this game and win it convincingly, not blowout, but win it where you felt like they were in control.
Yeah.
And they won this game, then I put them in there with them.
Yeah.
If they don't, then they kind of stay in this tier with Tennessee and kind of they're battling, looking up at Kansas City. At the end of the day, I am going to go Pittsburgh. I do think they'll be able to harass Ryan Tannehill. I think, I look at maybe a couple late plays extended by Roethlisberger, and maybe that's all he needs. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh to win. I think it's going to be a kind of high-scoring game. I think it'll be like 28-24. I do think that the Steelers are the better team, so I'm going to take them.
All right, that takes us to another Sunday game here. We have the Seattle Seahawks favored by 3.5 points going over to Arizona against the Cardinals. The Cardinals were impressive in some ways and not so impressive in others. And I think Seattle just is that good old team. I think if I had to power rank the NFC right now, I'd probably say Seattle's first right now. I'd probably have to say that. So I'm gonna be hard pressed to pick against them. Not saying that somebody like Kyler Murray can't cause problems for that Seattle defense as good as their linebackers are. Kyler Murray's just on another level, man, with that first step outside the pocket. But ultimately, give me the experience and give me the team I rank first. Give me Seattle.
Yeah, it's funny. Last year, Arizona handed them a loss.
Yeah.
And it was later in the season. It was at home. It was in, I think, Seattle. And that allowed the Niners to win that division. because of that game. When I look at this game, I just think, and the one thing about Russell Wilson is I feel like we're in Groundhog's Day where Russell Wilson plays out of his mind. Like he was doing this at the beginning of last year, where he was,
Yeah.
this amazing. It was him and Lamar Jackson, who's the MVP,
Yeah.
and then he kind of tailed off a little bit. I think that's going to happen, but it'll be a little bit different because he's playing at such a higher level. So when I look at it, at the end of the day, I still think Seattle's going to win. I think it'll be a close game, division rivals. I think I see this division kind of splitting with each other a lot of times. So maybe Arizona gets one back. But right now, I think Seattle, it's like they're just a little bit better version.
Yeah.
They're an upgraded version of what Arizona is.
Right.
So, yeah, give me Seattle.
Right. Then you have Kansas City, favored by 9 points at the Denver Broncos. You know what? Denver, like I said, we talked about them a little earlier. They looked really good against New England on both sides of the ball. Drew Lock, has his ups and downs, but he did what he had to do to win that game. The defense looked really good. But still, this is still Kansas City. It's still Patrick Mahomes, and we saw what they could do on the ground now as well as pass. So give me the Kansas City Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I think Kansas City kind of. The Raiders just caught them off guard.
Yeah,
you're gonna have those type of games in a division game. I think Kansas City rights the boat. I think you're gonna see some great and some bad. Like it says, Drew Lock will keep both teams in the game. So I think Kansas City will get some turnovers. Kansas City's not the same team they were a year ago. They feel a little bit different. But I still expect them to kind of walk away with a very comfortable win. Some big plays by Mahomes and a steady running game.
Yeah, then you have the San Francisco 49ers at the New England Patriots. Looks like New England is favored by 2.5 points at home. This should be a really good game, man. I think this is going to be a really good game. It really, to me, the determining factor and who's going to win this game is going to be how does San Francisco play on defense? Are they going to be able to execute a game plan that keeps the offense for New England in check, keep Cam Newton in check, the same way Denver did? Yeah. I think if Cam Newton starts to play well, New England becomes an easy favorite for me. But if you tell me that San Francisco can, contain Cam Newton, I think offensively they're going to get the better of New England. In the end, on this one, I'm actually going to go San Francisco because I think it can be done. I think the blueprint's there. And I just think this is a pride game. I'm not saying that New England can't or I'll be shocked. It's a really hard pick for me. But I just feel like after you get past Cam Newton, what do you got?
Yeah.
And I think as long as they can lock that down,
yeah,
San Francisco should win.
Yes. I mean, the other thing is, mobile quarterbacks do give the Niners problems, that defense problems. We saw that week 1 with Kyler Murray. But Kyler Murray's kind of a different
He's
type
way different
than Cam Newton.
He's quick.
So explosive.
Yeah.
It's just like, are you up for tackling? Cam Newton's one of those, you'll
Yeah.
get there, but do you want to hit him?
Do you want to hit him?
It's going to be extremely interesting. No Raheem Morris, which sucks. But, I mean, you're getting Brandon Ayuk, the rookie from Arizona State. He's getting more pump. Deebo Samuel's starting to look like the Deebo Samuel of last year. Garoppolo's getting better week by week. It comes on like you said. I mean, if they can slow them down, if they can kind of curtail that offense, they can stop Cam Newton. Stop Cam Newton. If you can get to Cam Newton, there's nothing on the outside that scares you. If you're able to slow down Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, you should be able to slow down what New England has. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take San Francisco. Shocker. I'm going to take them to kind of win by a touchdown and, and start that trend going back up.
Then you have Jacksonville at the LA Chargers. The Chargers are 8.5 point favorites over Jacksonville. I think I'm going to take the Chargers on this one. Herbert looks good, and it looks like they're really energized by him. Ever since he's been inserted into the lineup, I feel like the receivers jump a little higher, run their routes a little cleaner. I just noticed that. I don't think they'll cover the spread. I think Jacksonville is still a team that commands some type of respect. But in the end, give me the Chargers here.
Man, I'm so tempted to pick Jacksonville, but because it's the curse of the Chargers, man. I hate to say it. At the end of the day, I still think I'm going to take the Chargers because I like Herbert. I think Herbert's a good quarterback. I think they found something. They have so many weapons. Their defense is really good. There's no reason they shouldn't be a really good team. And really good teams beat teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. So, yeah, give me the Chargers. This is the one where I feel like if Jacksonville wins, I'm just like, I knew it, damn it. But I'm gonna put my faith in the Chargers this week.
Then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Tampa Bay is favored by a field goal. And, I think right now Tampa Bay seems to be, coming into its own, beating Green Bay, who I think was the early favorite out of the NFC. And I think they're going to ride that wave. I know Las Vegas, is coming off a big win over the Chiefs, but you got to figure that's a division rivalry. And now, they're going to be playing the NFC team. And, Tom Brady will continue to amaze me in his old age. Give me Tampa Bay.
But I think this is more about the Tampa Bay defense. I think they are going to. You saw what they did to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Imagine what they're going to do to Derek Carr. They are going to befuddle him. This is not. If you can, Derek Carr's biggest issue is whenever he doesn't know what's going on, he does not have that second gear to kind of figure it out. And I think they're going to do their job to confuse him. They're going to bully the inside of that offensive line. You know what, though? I'll say this about the Raiders is they can be a more physical team than the Packers. They will line up and run that ball down your throat if you let them. But at the end of the day, I think Tampa Bay's on a roll. I think they're starting to find their stride. So, yeah, give me Tampa Bay to win it 24-20.
All right, then we have the Monday Night Football game. We have the Chicago Bears at the LA Rams. The Rams are favored by 5.5 points. I think this should be another really good game. I think this is a really good, nice matchup. LA Rams, have a pretty good offense. Chicago, pretty good defense. But nothing that's like mind-blowing. But at the same time, I think styles make fights. And for some reason, I just feel like Chicago is going to pull this thing out in a close one. I think they're going to keep the game close. The Rams have a tendency to play up and play down the competition as well. So Chicago, in a close game, I think pulls this thing out. I think a little Foles magic, maybe at the end or something. Some kind of big play at the end. It's going to be that one play that makes the difference in a close game. And I think Chicago makes that play before the Rams do.
Yeah, you know what? I got Chicago too.
Yeah.
I think Chicago has a formula to slow down the Rams. And right now, something about Foles, man. Give me that Foles magic.
Yeah, so, that's our week. That'll be our week 7 picks.
Yep.
For whatever reason, man, the app froze me out of my picks, man.
Yeah, did you dirty.
Kind of did me dirty. I would have 10 more wins. But, so my unofficial count will be 10 wins higher. My wins are on record. But, making sure I'm hitting the save button here on this time.
I want to do it on Thursday night before the game.
And I will double check.
Saturday.
I will double check. Yeah, but that's week 7 is now in the bag. The picks are in the bag. The picks are made on the Pro Pick'em app. Again, you can download the Pro Pick'em app. You can join the league, say what you like, and the password is NFL 2020. You can make your weekly picks with us, man. So until next week, peace out, everybody.